Hello YouTube, I'm back from NEC now. Just did Thornbury today as well. NEC was yesterday. I did Thornbury Toy Show today as well. I thought I'd show you some of my pickups. It was really rammed at NEC yesterday. It was a really good show. Anybody has never been, I would recommend going, because there is literally 600 stalls filled with vintage toys, filled with modern toys, everything from die-cast to Star Wars. There's loads of obviously trains and that sort of stuff as well, but there's loads of things like Ghostbusters, He-Man, Masters Universe, and there's Thundercats. There's loads of Action Man stuff, loads and loads of cool bits and bobs. And I thought I'd show you what I picked up. So first thing I picked up yesterday was this. Now this is a Top Trumps display unit, and I'm holding my camera now rather than keeping it on a stand because it is so big. The idea is that this will be not for Trumps, it will be for action figures. I'll put all my vintage figures in there, ready to be sold, and I have it on my stool. I might remove the sticker. I'm not a big fan of like this sticker at all anyway. If it was a vintage display sign, I wouldn't obviously do that, but this is a modern one. It's like it comes from the last couple of years. It says favourites include Angel, Buffy, Beano, Two Towers. Two Towers, I presume, is Lord of the Rings. So I imagine this comes from around about 2002. Yeah, or 2003. So I might try and see if I can get a sticker covered. I might just leave it for now. I might just try and find some stickers to apply to the side, things that say like Action Man and Star Wars. And the idea is to put all my figures in this display and sell them like that. So this is a bit of a big one, so I thought I'd put it here and hold the camera and show you. It's literally a Top Trumps shop display. Now I paid, I think it was £10 for that, which is a bit of a chunk of change, but it's just cheap plastic, but it will help me out at Toyfairs in the future. Now on to the next item. So one of my first purchases of the day, I was walking around the fair and there was a lot of stalls and it was so busy. I can't tell you how busy it was, but I found one stall where it was my favourite type of stall. It's a stall where it has a mixture of vintage stuff, where the person selling the items is not really trying to make a massive profit. They're basically just trying to get these items sold as quick as they can, spend the money. And so I paid, I think it was £50 maybe for all these items I'm about to show you now. And some people might think, oh, that's not worth it, but I think it is what it is. So the first thing I found was this Chad Valley Give a Show projector, and it has Batman and Robin. So it has Batman on a tightrope, Batman versus the Riddler, and Batman versus the Shaggy Man. Now if you don't know what these are, it basically is a projector like this at the top here. You would put these slides in and you would move the slides along and it would tell you a bit of the story. It's like a comic book strip. I don't know if you can see the right one there. And they would kind of basically give you a story, a little short story, and kids would read them in bed, I suppose, when the lights are off and stuff. And these are very collectible in the 60s and 50s and 70s. By the 80s, they've totally gone with the the event of like VHS players and stuff. They're very much of their time, but this is cool. This is vintage Batman, and vintage Batman always sells. So part of the £50 deal, I threw this in. Sorry if I sound a bit like I've got a cold. I do. I'm very fluey at the moment. It's Christmas, I suppose. So the next lot of stuff was another load of these ones, and then this is what really piqued my interest. These were 1960s Doctor Who. I don't know why my camera's not focusing in. So for some reason the camera's not really focusing in that well. But these are really cool. They basically show you like a little story again, but this is all to do with Doctor Who. I think I've got about, I think it's like 16 of them here. Now these sell on eBay for about £5-6 a strip. So my plan is to maybe try and match up the numbers and do them as as you get the matching numbers sort of thing. So 147 would then be 146. The numbers on the side here. So yeah, these are quite cool. For what it's worth, I mean, it's going to take me a lot of time to sell these, so I'm not going to get them sold in a split second. But, you know, I could these probably sell in the next couple of months. I'll put them on eBay. Make some money on those, but they're really cool. They're very period. They're from 1965. So they're pretty cool. So next up, I was on a stall, and this guy, very cool guy, he's always been really nice. He was selling him some cool action figures, and a person was trying to buy this off him, and he wanted £45 for it, but I said to the guy, I'll take 40 for it. Which I waited and waited until the guy said yes or no, and it was really annoying. It's one of those things where the guy looks at it and looks at it and looks at it, and then he put it down and was like, no, I don't want that at all. No. As soon as he said no, I went, I'll have it for £40. And it's this, the Indiana Jones Raiders of the Lost Ark Cairo Swordsman, made by Kenner. It's mint on card. The bubble is near perfect, I would say. I would give the bubble, 8 out of 10 sort of thing. It's maybe better than that. It's just amazing. The card is a bit wear, it has a lot of wear. But as anybody knows, finding Indiana Jones Raiders of the Lost Ark or any Indiana Jones vintage stuff in the UK is near impossible. It occasionally comes up. You can find the annuals, you can find the comic books, you might be able to find the original VHS tapes, that sort of thing, but finding the toys is near impossible. You don't even find them loose. I think I found more carded over the years than at toy shows than I have loose. So it's a lovely little figure, and it comes with a free Belloc proof of purchase advertisement on the front. The purchase of any free Raiders of the Lost Ark action figures. So this is made by Kenner. Has some issues up here with the lithograph on the card is starting to peel off, which is quite sad. But this figure is pretty cool. It's the Cairo Swordsman, so it's probably the most easiest and most boring of all the figures you can get in the line. I think there's about 12 figures altogether. So this is the original, I think this is known as the 4-back, if you sort of thing. So Indiana Jones is quite hard to find loose. I've never seen him loose in the UK. I've been dying to get a loose one of him forever, but it's never going to happen. Finding his accessories will be even more harder to find. Then we have one called, I think his name is Tote or Tot. I've had him before, and we've sold him. My dad had him on our stall, and we sold him. Kind of wish should have kept him really, because he's quite lovely. But well. And then we have the Cairo Swordsman. Then we have Marion Ravenwood with Monkey. Now she's the hardest one to find out of all the Indiana Jones line. I've never seen her for sale singly. I know somebody who has one in their collection, but they didn't have the Monkey, unfortunately. Very, very rare, very rare on card. I mean, these figures here are usually in mint condition on card, about £100. Indiana Jones mint condition is about £400. You can try and get it cheaper sometimes. Marion, you just can't find them. Maybe £400, £500, £600 easily. But a very hard figure to find. Then we have the play sets. We have the Well of Souls, which is a really cool play set. There's a rope, there's whip hanging there. You've got loads of snakes, and you've got the Ark. And then you've got the map room. Which, in all fairness, is a pretty boring set. Why would any kid want that as a play set? Well, Souls, yep, that sounds cool. Map room. Imagine getting that as a kid. What do you do with it? But yeah, and you got the free Belloc advertisement, which when you cut out these little proof of purchase sales here and send them away, you get a free figure, which is one of the most annoying things ever, because it means that things don't ever get it means that a lot of cards are missing them. This says offer expires March the 31st, 1983. I'm not sure when Temple of Doom came out in 83, or was it 85? But anyway, this is a really cool figure. I've got the acrylic case with it to put in my collection as well. this is going definitely into my collection. I might sell it in the future. I don't know if I want to go down the whole route collecting this line. I would love to. I mean, I think Indiana Jones is my favourite film series. Even though obviously Star Wars is a massive fan of Star Wars and I have all the toys, but the problem with Indiana Jones is there's not much toys. There's not much. It's not as much, should we say, as Star Wars. So it's easier to like Star Wars, if you get what I mean. But if I could, I would collect this line. This would be the first line I'd collect. If I was happened to come into like 100 grand of money, I would buy this line. Because even though the figures are, carded, you're talking maybe 400, 500, you can probably get the whole line for under 2 grand, 2.5 grand, maybe 3 grand in really good condition. I mean, there's a few more play sets, I believe, and there's 2 more, including the truck. And then there's, I think there's 3 more figures, and that's it. My dad does have the other figure. He has a Belloc figure for sale, carded, but he sold it today, and I was like gutted. But I went to Nice Guy. Cool. Now I picked up some Action Man stuff. I went to a guy, a collector, who has he's well known. He has a massive load of tables, loads of bits on it. And so whenever I go to his stall, I always look around, and occasionally he'll have Action Man stuff. And what he had today was Action Man stuff and some Action Force bits. So I think I paid 50 for everything. Maybe it was less than that. Maybe it was 30. But I got an Action Man. This is the Deep Sea Diver outfit. It's very poor condition. It needs to be cleaned up and wiped up, and his hair needs to be sorted out. It's really matted, and it's missing pieces as well. You can tell. So the hair gets covered in kind of fluff and string and bits of bobs, and it kind of does that really weird effect where you can pick pieces off. So he will need to be restored. He's missing his hands. I'm pretty sure he's got cracks on his body. I haven't looked yet, but he's going to be. But he will need to be restored. But so far so good. And then I picked some bits for, if anybody knows what this is. I originally thought it was the original 1960s Black Soldier, which would be worth a lot of money. G.I. Joe one. So if you don't know, G.I. Joe Action Man is called G.I. Joe in America. And that's where it came from. That's where it was born. He was born as G.I. Joe, and he was imported to the UK as an Action Man. They did a soldier who was a black soldier, but he was basically a normal Action Man painted this colour. This is what I thought it was originally, and I was a bit excited because they were worth a lot of money, even though it's bits, but it's not. This is something different. This is what I thought is a Tom Stone figure. Now, he will need to clean. His head's missing a bit of stuff, and he's not the greatest in the world, and it's just a few bits. So like a leg, which is worth nothing really. The ball joint and the torso, which is unfortunately got a hole there. Now it is marked G.I. Joe, so I'm not 100% sure if this is I'm not sure if Tom Stone in the UK is marked G.I. Joe or not. I don't think it is, so that might be a G.I. Joe. So I'm gonna be selling that as a lot because it's not worth mega money, but I'm just gonna get rid of it. I know a few people, some dealers that might want it. Next up, I find this hat, which I think might be the Mask of Zorro hat, which came with a European release. I think it might be the one in Germany, Group Action Joe, something like that. So I'll keep that for my collection. Then we've got the radio pack with the multicolour one. I've never owned one of these, I don't think. He's somewhat split, which is annoying, but he's got everything there, including the telephone. So that's pretty cool. Something you don't see that often. Also with this Deep Sea Diver, you got the helmet. It's missing the red tap, unfortunately. Picked up some goggles. They're also always good to find. Goggles can be really, really tricky to find in the Action Man line. They're usually cracked, missing the elastic, or just non-existent. The blueberry goes with the United Nations outfit. It's missing its badge, unfortunately, which is like a paper badge, but they usually always are. I found one with a badge in its mint condition a couple of years back, which is now in my collection. But they're really tricky to find, so even if you don't find them without the badge, pick them up, because they could be worth, they're not worth mega money, probably only worth about £5, but they're nice. Next up is this. This is I believe a G.I. Joe. It's one of their versions of like a ceremonial, if you will, West Point cadet maybe. I don't know if it's modern or vintage. It feels like it might be modern. It feels really thick and it's nice quality, but it could simply be vintage as well. Might be one of their 40th Rangers. It's not got any markings, but I'm pretty sure that's G.I. Joe. There's some more bits for the G.I. Joe Tom Stone figure. Next up we have a Action Man equipment manual. I'm not sure what year this is. It looks like it might be from, should we take a guess? It looks like it's from early 70s. I would say it's probably around about 73. I'll go through it in depth. Look at this. This is my favourite manual actually, because it looks, they've taken the pictures and then placed them on a cartoon hand-drawn background. It's quite interesting. One of the things I would love to find, if I can ever find it, would be these Quartermaster boxes. They're on my holy grails. They're so cool. They're so odd. Well, not odd, I suppose, but they're just an odd piece, as in you never find them, you never see them in people's collections. I know only one person who's got one. So that's always quite good. These are, these are not mega money. They're very popular, easy to find, but they're nice pocket money pieces. I'll put that on my stall. Sorry, the camera's playing up today. So my next item I found was this Space Ranger helmet. It's got some cracks on the screen. Space Ranger stuff goes really well at the moment. People are crazy for it. Usually I'd probably ask about £6 for it, because it's one of those things where it just sells as soon as you put it out. But because of the cracks, I'll ask £2 or £3 and just get it sold. So next thing on the stall, which is probably one of the best things, was they had some sports stuff. So they had the cricket outfit parts. I didn't buy all of it because it was cheap though, really cheap if you're into it, but I just wanted to buy a few things for certain reasons. So free cricket shoes. Then came the cricket socks, which are in lovely condition, which will be added to my collection. My one's a bit poor. I'm also missing on my collection the jumper. I got a 40th anniversary one. I'm not a big fan of 40th, but some of it does, does the job. This bat, but the handle was melting, which is kind of gross. The cap, which is, I believe this is a dark blue version. There is a version which is like a more purple colour. It's missing the badge, so it's not worth mega much. And I'm not really trying to make mega money on it. I just want to get some interesting stock for people to come to our store, really. The main reason I bought it was because of these. These are the cricket stumps. In my collection, my cricket player has everything apart from the jumper, as said. He's missing the bell and the ball and 2 stumps. I've even got a stand, which is nice. So the stand needs some more stumps. So I mainly bought them for the stumps, really. I don't think they're worth mega money. Probably worth like £3 or £4 each, but I just wanted to get them really. There's the ball and the bell, which are worth a lot. Also, part of the lot was these gripping hands. These are 40th anniversary reproductions. I wouldn't usually buy 40th stuff. Not that I'm not against it. People can enjoy it as much as they want. But when it comes to hands, you can't get vintage Action Man hands and mint hands anymore. I mean, you can, but it's so hard and they're so expensive, and so it's best to just buy modern reproduction ones. They're pretty good. You need to sand down the joints to make them a bit more fit tightly, because they're not really supposed to go with vintage Action Man, but they do. Or what you can do is pull the actual hand off the joint, because it's on there with cheap glue, and then just pop it on your joint, vintage joint. And then the last thing in the lot was this. This is Action Man 1970s dog tag. Originally were metal, weren't they? But then they decided to basically make them plastic. The chain needs to be cleaned up. That's not a problem. But always good to have these because these are quite tricky to find. They only released for a certain amount of years. I think it's like 2-3 years they were released, and after that they didn't do them anymore. Right, so we're going to fast forward until today's show, which is the Thornbury show, and I met up with the same dealer, and I bought some more stuff off him. So I bought what I think is some Tommy Gunn stuff. So Tommy Gunn was a Action Man rival in the 60s, made by Pedigree, and this is like a landmine thing. I'm not a big Tommy Gunn fan, I don't really collect it, so what I do is I just basically try and get some people. I'm not sure if this is Tommy Gunn or not, because it's got an elastic strap, and I'm not, Action Man never had an elastic strap which is glued in like this, but it could be, and I've sold a job lot of Tommy Gunn stuff recently. I included this helmet, and it sold really quick, so I imagine it probably is. Next up was this Russian Internationals helmet. What's cool about this helmet, it kind of looks a bit like World War I German. They never did any World War I stuff for the Action Man lines, which is a shame. But it came with the strap, which is usually always missing. So unfortunately, they will have to glue it in because the clip's broken. But that's also something which is always quite hard to find. I'm not sure which football team this is. I was originally going to say Chelsea, but I think Chelsea's darker blue. This is a light blue football shirt. Football shirts can be a pain in the ass, basically, because they're always ripped, and they always have tears. This one's got a bit of a threadbare there. This is always ripped up here, always missing. But this one's quite nice. It's missing the badge, which is a shame. But, you know, that's probably worth £5 on its own all day long. Really hard to find mint condition footballers. Really, really hard to find. So when you do find these pieces, pick them up. Next up, I got in a bag 2 of these. I think these are the cameras for the submarine. Seawolf, I think it's called. So I don't know if that's worth anything. I just thought they were quite interesting. I thought as a part for a vehicle, they might be come in handy to somebody. And then we have another helmet, which looks like the to me it looked like the G.I. Joe Japanese soldier helmet, but it's not. It's Tommy Gunn, I believe. So that will go into a Tommy Gunn pile, which I'll eventually will pass on to a Tommy Gunn fan. And then last but not least, this is not vintage, I don't think. I think this is definitely modern, probably cheap looking. It's marked Hong Kong. It's got elastic. I don't think it's anything vintage. But I have a G.I. Joe, which like a Marine, and he's missing his helmet, and then the helmets are quite expensive, and they've got this red colour on them. So rather than making one, I thought I'd just use this. This would do the job. So I feel I'm a bit conscious, self-conscious of my cold. So I do apologise. Also, in this lot, I thought this was something else. In the G.I. Joe range, in the Adventure Team range, there's a kind of like a welder figure, and he's wearing like a net vest, which is a bit odd. And I thought this was it, but it's not. It's like a weird netted outfit. I thought it was hilarious. So for pure comedic reasons, I purchased this as a laugh to see what Action Man would look like wearing it. Because I thought I'd throw it in. It's not worth anything, I don't think. It could be Cindy or something like that, maybe. But it's really well made. It's really thick material. A very odd thing to make. Maybe somebody's making a pyjama set for Action Man, but this is quite unique. And here we have another poster for the Action Force line. There you have the Action Force watch. Official merchandise. I mean, this is when like toys became big business in the 80s. Havoc. I believe the Rattler's on here as well. I mean, look at that artwork. They really did good artwork for G.I. Joe. All hand painted. All the artwork feels like it's different. I mean, this is amazing. I mean, if it was, say, modern Star Wars, this one picture would be on every single box, every single packaging, whether it be a toy figure, a box set, a vehicle, an alarm clock, a pair of pajamas. It would have the same boring logo, but this is quite unique. It's a lovely thing to see. It shows you some of the things you can get. It's quite a big poster, so I'm not going to unveil all of it. There's the rattler there. So on another stall, a guy had a load of Action Man pieces, and he was doing a good deal where he was basically get rid of things at cheap prices, which is always nice to hear, because some people with Action Man stuff will say, oh, every item's £5 an item, which is fine if you buy maybe something like this. But when you're buying something like this, it's not worth it. So I paid, I think it was £5 for all of this. We have 2 pairs of the snowshoes. I think that's what they're called. I call them mini skis, but that's not right. A lot of Action Man collectors always trying to find these. I don't know why, but I find loads of them. I don't think they're mega rare, but collectors always snap them up when they can find them. I get loads of these. These are the Action Man Navy Attack Mae West Life Vest from the 60s. I think it looks really smart on a figure. I recently picked up a 60s Navy figure, so I might put them on him. But that's always good. They go for about £6-7. You can get up to £15 from their mint condition. This one's pretty mint, but I won't be asking that. Next up was this Eagle Eyes figure's head. He's got his neck post, which is always good. He is covered in absolute rubbish, so it will take a while to clean him up. I might do a little video about how to restore hair like this, because it's quite fun, and if you like boring videos, but I'll show you it. So all that was £5. That's always a good deal. Some of this stuff here would be going on eBay, some of it would go on Facebook groups, some of it would go in my collection. Some of it I know some collectors who might want it, and the rest will be going in my toy box for future toy shows. Right, let's have a look at what else I found. Now back to the NEC. On the same store which I picked up the Batman and Doctor Who slides, this chap was sat there, and I absolutely love these Daleks. If anybody wanted to collect Doctor Who stuff and they want to collect modern stuff, this is where I'd start. Even if you're not a major fan of Doctor Who, these Daleks are so cool. They are remote controlled. Unfortunately, I don't have batteries right now, but they are really well made, and they will literally move around the floor and shout commands and stuff. So I'm going handheld at the moment because it's such a big Dalek. But I think this is included in the £50 for the slides. So slides and the Dalek, £50. So it's that's always worth it. This one is the one from, I believe, Genesis of the Daleks, the Tom Baker classic, which first introduced Davros. Okay, we're going to fast forward now to Thornbury. So Thornbury Toy Show was today. It was my first ever show at Thornbury, actually. Me and my dad were a bit apprehensive about it because we thought it'd be quite a small show, but it actually turned out to be quite a good show. It was very busy. If anybody's ever been to Shepton Mallet, it was about half the size of Shepton Mallet. And a lot of it was train and die-cast dealers. But there was some good stuff on show. It wasn't as busy as NEC, but it was still more busy than I thought it was. And something I've been trying to get into recently, which people know about, is I'm trying to get into collecting vintage trading cards. And so when I saw this one chap came up to me and said hello, and he said, "I'll sell it." He said he's selling trading cards on his stall. Come have a look. And I did, and I bought a load of them. I think I paid £30 for the whole lot, which some people might seem a lot. you know, finding trading cards in the UK, as I always say, is pretty rare. So the first thing I bought was, this is the wrapper of the $6 Million Man bubblegum line. It has the American dress on it, which makes you think this was probably not sold in the UK. So to get this in the UK is quite rare. I love that artwork. He didn't have any $6 Million Man trading cards, unfortunately, but he did have a few things. So what he did have was these two James Bond Moonraker cards. A Moonraker set's pretty easy to get hold of. They're not expensive. You can probably pay, I don't know, £20 for the whole lot, £30 for the whole lot. They're really nice. There's Roger Moore there. Do you know what, Moonraker is one of my guilty pleasures when it comes to James Bond. I'm not a big fan of the Roger Moore era or any kind of era after Sean Connery, but I love Moonraker. It's terrible for what it is, but it's just one of those funny films which I just love. It's a bit like my love for Batman and Robin. Have you ever seen the 1998, I think it is, movie? Terrible movie, absolutely terrible, but I can just watch it on repeat. It's one of those films where I just never get bored of it. It's really weird. So those two cards, I think, yes, I paid £30 for a lot of these. So those are those two James Bond cards. Next up was these set of cards, which I saw and I just blown away. This is the Man on the Moon cards. I never knew they did this. I do love my Apollo and NASA history. So to see these for sale, he wanted £1.50 each, but he threw them all in for the deal. So this is, of course, Neil Armstrong there. And this is the card that pretty much sold it for me, really. It's it's a nice looking card. Neil in the capsule. So that's that card, and there's a few other bits as well. So I'm going to try and see my best to try and collect this line. I'm not sure if the colour of the card, where it says Man on the Moon, where it's green or red, relates to a particular series, like Series 1, Series 2. Because all the green ones appear to be from the Apollo 11 mission to the moon. And all the red ones appear to be Apollo 10. Most likely they probably knew they were going to go to the moon and decided to make these up straight away, sort of thing. There's some of the first footsteps on the moon. I'm not sure how many cards are in the set, but I'm going to slowly go after them. And then, part of the deal, this was quite expensive, I suppose, but this was £8 he wanted, but I got the whole lot for £30. I think this was £8. This was £5. I love $6 Million Man stuff, so I had to get it. And then these cards were like £1 each for the James Bond ones. And these cards were £1.50 each. So to get like 14 cards, 16 cards, that would have been, I don't know, it became, my maths is terrible, but it came to quite a lot of money, so I think I got a bit of a deal, which is nice. These are Marvel Comics superheroes tattoos with a bubblegum stick. 3 exciting tattoos. I originally thought they were cards when I picked them up, then I realised they weren't. I don't collect tattoos, obviously, but I thought it's in the trading card sort of vein. You can tell there's a bit of card there, and these are pretty cool. I love vintage. Vintage Marvel always looks good. I prefer vintage Marvel over vintage DC, just because it's more colourful, more playful. So that was it for today and yesterday. NEC and Thornbury today. Sorry if I sound like I have got a major cold right now and a major flu, so it's kind of like I've got a chest infection. So I had to get the shows out of the way, and I really wanted to get this video up so everybody can watch and see what I've picked up. So sorry if I'm mumbling and sounding ill and forgetting things. Anyway, thank you for watching, and as always, I'll see you next time.